This tutorial will take a look at and showcase some of the ways the image bank has been revised, and some ways that I've made a number of the images transparent, which is quite helpful at times, lots of times actually. So let's take a look at the new image bank first. So this is what the new image bank looks like. So there's an elementary section, a secondary section, and then there are a number of other folders, things that will apply to or could apply to tutors in either panel. I didn't bother to make the Mathify tour images transparent. There's no real need for that. Also, there's a student in crisis folder here now, and a number of images there that could be helpful at times. So let's say that a student came to you with, in the description, you'll find a URL so you can download this newest version of the TVO Learn Mathify image bank. So let's say a student comes to you with this particular question, and we could use Pythagoras' theorem to solve that, or help solve that. And so let's bring the image bank back over here. So Pythagoras' theorem, which we could use here, is in both panels. So if you go into, I'm going to do the elementary in this case, go into formulas. And so there's a couple different ones here. This is the one that I'm going to use. So, oh, I didn't quite pull it far enough. There we go. That off. So now notice that the image is transparent. I can see the question right through it. In fact, if I put the grid up, you can see that even better. We move the question out of the way here. You can see the grid right through the transparency. And let's turn that off. I don't need it there anymore. As opposed to the old Pythagorean theorem image, if I drag that over here, that's the old one. So notice that it's not transparent. If I turn the grid on, you can see that it has a white background through it. It's not transparent like this one. So let's turn our grid off, and we'll get rid of this image here. Now, as often students do, they upload images that they have a lot of background that can get in the way, because we don't want to write anywhere in here because it could get behind their non-transparent image. So now I'm a PC user, so in Windows, if you go in here and you can see my snipping tool there, if it doesn't come up for you automatically, just start typing in, and you'll see that come up. So this is what the snipping tool looks like, and so I'm going to click on New here and just grab. So that's all we actually need. And so let's minimize that. And we'll move this off. Now, I usually drag it off so you can see there's a little bit there if you happen to need it. And because I had the Mathify app highlighted, it's the current window, I just did Control-V. And Control-V is the shortcut in Windows for pasting something. Now, after you've done it, of course, notice that see, I uploaded that image of the question after I uploaded Pythagoras' theorem, so it's now like on top. So what you could do if you wanted to is do that, and then just go to your image bank again and bring that back over. And so now that's now the current window. You can see the question through it and proceed. And so I've shown you how the snipping tool can be used in Windows. If you're a Mac user, Ruth Bennett, one of the senior tutors, has created a short, just over 3-minute video on a Mac showing how to take screen captures of parts of screens on a Mac. So check out the URL to that in this tutorial's description. So let's move over to the second whiteboard. And in this example, let's say a student comes to you with, they've drawn a triangle, or they've uploaded it from an image in their textbook or something, and they want to learn how to use a protractor to measure it. So let's go back to the, and again, this is actually in both elementary and secondary, so I'm going to stay in the elementary here. And so there's my protractor. And of course, in order to measure the angle, you know, we put the crosshairs there. We want to rotate it so that the bottom is parallel to one side. That's pretty close. And then move it, and we can see that the angle is probably somewhere around 59 degrees. Okay, so again, the protractor is transparent, so you can see the image through it. Now, one more thing I'll mention here before we go to another page is sometimes the student might all of a sudden tell you, maybe the page got refreshed or something, that now, the protractor is appearing behind like this. Okay, and it's hard to say exactly when that happens. I've seen it when pages are refreshed, but now we can't see the protractor through it because for some reason the question, here it is right here, is now the image that's on top. So all you'd have to do is go back to and upload another protractor, and we could take that protractor and just bring it over here and rotate it again so that we can measure the angle. So I got too many things on the go here, but you can just upload another image. So let's move on to another whiteboard. So in this example, the student has come with a question where they want to plot some points. And again, if you had an issue with the size, you could do the snipping tool or a screenshot thing in Mac to make that smaller, because we really only need this part right here. Okay, so in both the elementary and secondary, there are a number of grids. So let's go into the secondary in this case, and they're under grids. And so let's use this one here. So we'll drag it over, and so we can see that that grid is transparent. So I can see the question through it, or if I pull it over here and put a grid up, you can see the grid through it. So turn it off. And so we could plot, so the first point's 4, 6, over 4, up 6, and we could put a little dot right there. And so there's not really a problem with writing getting behind the transparent image because, of course, it's transparent. Now, I do want to point out that in the secondary folder, there's a couple of specific grids for graphic trig functions as well. One is the horizontal axis in degrees, the other in radians. And also, in the elementary folder, there's also a transparent isometric dot image too that you can use. So let's move on to whiteboard 4. So let's say a student came to you with this question. Now, it's often a good idea to draw a shape. For example, this is a rectangular prism that we could use here. The students can see what we're actually doing. So I'm going to go into the secondary one. This is in both, actually. So if you go into shapes, there's a rectangular prism, same folder that the transparent protractor's in. And of course, it is small, but it's easy to make it any size you want and label the dimensions a lot quicker than drawing line segment, line segment, line segment, line segment to draw that. Okay, and it is, of course, transparent. And so there are several transparent shapes there. If anyone has uses for ones that I don't have in the folder, then take a look and let me know. It's fairly easy to make them. Okay, last page here. Now, so let's say that a student comes to you with a question that involves using algebra tiles. Maybe it's an integer problem, maybe in the high school it's about factoring or expanding or something like that. And both panels have algebra tiles. So we're bringing it over here. Let's go into the elementary one this time. So there's the algebra tiles and integer chips. And so here's all the algebra tiles, and let's say, just want to show you, they're not transparent, but they are, they have no border around them. So you see, this is the x squared one, and so if you're putting them side by side, they match up pretty nicely. So let's get rid of those. And I'm going to bring the full... Now, another thing I want to show you here is with algebra tiles or integer chips, you often want multiple copies of them. So I made a folder in here that has multiple copies of every one. So let's say, and one of the nice things is that we can highlight and copy several things at a time. So let's say, and so I've highlighted several here, so I'm just going to drag them over here. And so it looks like you can only see one, but they're actually on top of one another. So, let's say the question, the student came to you with this question. So let's say they came with the question 5 plus -2. So we've got, so there's the -2 and 5. We need more of those. Okay, that's all we need. So, you can see that pair adds 0, that pair adds 0, so what's left over is 3, so 5 plus -2 should be 3. So you can copy and paste multiple images to a whiteboard. So, and that can be very helpful with something like integer tiles, because in that case you probably want several objects. So I just want to mention one more time, you'll find the URL to download the new newly revised Math by Image Bank in the description for this tutorial, and also a URL to the video, that screen capture video on a Mac that Ruth Bennett made. And thanks for watching.